Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Wilson and this is Bullet Sponge Brews. Today we've got a multi-part video ahead of us. First, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be racking our mixed berry mead off of the fruit that we had placed in secondary. I did taste it and I had a few of my friends taste it a couple days ago. We think it's good. We are also going to be checking where our flavor profile on our pineapple jalapeno mead is. I don't know if you can see it in frame, but it's right here. We're going to see where that is. If the flavor profile is where we want it, we're going to go ahead and remove the fruit and the jalapenos out of there and then just kind of let it do its own thing. And finally, we are going to be doing a blackberry cherry vanilla mead. This is one that my wife specifically requested that I do. This is something that she was interested in. So, happy wife, happy life. Got to keep her wanting to stick around and stay with me. So I got to do some things to make her happy. So we're going to go ahead and be doing that mead tonight as well. Like I did say, first what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going ahead and racking this off of the fruit cap and off of the sediment. So let's go ahead and just get started right into that. I am actually surprised at how well this one turned out. It's honestly probably my second favorite one. So we've got our auto siphon right here. Once again, everything here has been sanitized. Can't harp on that enough. But take the tubing, place it down into our secondary vessel, making sure that our vessel is lower than where we are siphoning it from. Take your rack and just kind of put it about halfway down, and we're just going to give it a couple pumps, and we're going to start that siphon. This is one that did pleasantly surprise me. I am very happy with how this one turned out. Also, while we're kind of just sitting here waiting for this thing to do its thing, go ahead and give a shout out to my buddy Josh. There's probably going to be a different kind of editing style going on in this. He does music and stuff on there. Go and show him some love and support. Now, as we're racking this, we're going to go ahead and gently tilt it up on its side. This is going to make it so that we have more liquid that we can get out of this instead of just wasting whole bunches. It looks like some of the fruit is starting to get in the way. It also looks like we are picking up some solids. Not a big deal. We will eventually be able to get those out of there. We do have some floaties in here. Not too big of a deal. We're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. And then, because this is already ready to go, we're just going to go ahead and put our lid on there. Already got an airlock, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it does look a little bit cloudy. That's going to clear up with a little bit of time. Do have some stuff that's still floating in there. Once again, we'll get that out eventually. And this is what we have left over. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a jar, and I'm going to give it to my friend Christine. Like I mentioned in a previous video, she's doing some really cool stuff with like fermented jellies and using this in sourdoughs and stuff like that. It's really cool. I've tried some of it. It's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and give her this and see what kind of magic she can pull off with that. Next up is the pineapple jalapeno. Once again, we did put, about a week ago, we did put, I believe it was 2 pounds of pineapple and 2 additional jalapenos in here. Haven't really touched it since then. We've just been kind of letting it do its own thing. And we're going to go ahead and sample this real quick. I forgot my fancy glasses. Wow, that jalapeno is really like in your face now. Forgot my fancy glasses, but I do have these really cool sampling bottles that I've been giving to some of my friends. So we're just going to go ahead and take a sample out of this. And I'm going to go ahead and just try it. That is already cleared up really nicely once again. Still not quite there. It definitely does have more pineapple flavor to it. Definitely getting a little more heat from the jalapenos, but we're going to go ahead and let this sit for another week. We'll see how it turns out next week. If you'll give me just a few minutes, I'm going to get this stuff cleaned up. I'm going to get these these fermenters out of the way, and we're going to get started on our next mead. So stick tight, and we'll be right back.
2 hours later.
Hey everybody, thanks for your patience. Got everything cleaned up. Now we're going to get into the star of the show, and we're going to start our mead. Like I said, we are doing a blackberry cherry vanilla mead. Now, with vanilla is one of those flavors, vanilla and mint, that I am aware of right now. They have the potential to get very overpowering very fast. So with the vanilla, we're going to be using vanilla bean. We're trying to stay away from concentrates and extracts and stuff like that, at least here in the beginning. But we will be adding vanilla bean into our mead into secondary, and then we will be tasting it every day until we reach the profile that we want. So right now, all that we're adding into this is honey, cherries, and blackberries, and obviously our regular assorted stuff. We've got our yeast here that's already rehydrating. I added a little bit of cherry juice into it. Once again, it's Lalvin EC1118. I got a bunch of it. We're still going to be using it. I'm almost done with it, and then after this, we can go ahead and see about potentially getting a different yeast. Any of you guys that have an idea for a different yeast, if you guys have any ideas, leave a comment below. Let me know what you would suggest or what you potentially would like to see. On top of that, we've got acids just in case we need to adjust our pH. We've got pectic enzymes since we are using fruit. We're going to want to use pectic enzymes. It's going to help break down the pectin in there, make it so it's not as hazy. Also, it's going to help break down that pectin into a digestible sugar. On top of that, we also have tannins. Once again, tannins help with mouthfeel. It's going to make it so that it doesn't feel like water as you're drinking it. It's going to add a little bit of stickiness to your tongue, and not really stickiness, but like dryness to your tongue is what it's going to help with. And then we have tart cherry juice. We have 32 ounces of that. That's what's going in this mead. So let's go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So once again, fermentation vessel, sanitized. Everything here has been. I'm going to harp on it probably every video. Just want to make sure you guys do not forget. I went out and picked up a 5-pound jug of honey. We're not going to be using this whole damn thing. It was just super convenient to pick this up. This is going to last me 2 meads. I'm going to want to use about half of this, so about 2.5 pounds. Once again, I'm trying to be cognizant of what our sugar levels are at, or what our gravity reading is going to be, because we don't want to have too high of a starting gravity. It's going to make those yeasts struggle, and then it's potentially going to finish the mead far too sweet. So we're going to try to add about half of this, or about 2.5 pounds. Actually, that's about right. We're going to go ahead and call that. Then into this, we are going to go ahead and add our cherries and our blackberries. Now, I did put these on the stove, mashed them up with a potato masher, trying to extract as much of that juice and sugars and everything out of there. It's going to give the yeast an easier time than just trying to get in there into whole fruit. And then I just put it in here to kind of make it a little bit easier. So hopefully it wouldn't make a mess, but it is. It's splattering out of the vessel. So what do I know? What can I say? Making mead and life is messy. I'm sure there's some kind of proverb in there. I don't know. I'm not a smart man. And then we're going to go ahead and add our cherry juice. This is probably far too much sugar once again, but we'll find out. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water to try to loosen it up. I'm not going to top her off just yet. Got a spoon. It's got holes in it. Hopefully it won't make too much of a mess. And we're just going to go ahead and mixy. This is probably going to take a while. In other news, I live here in Missouri. We actually just got 6 inches of snow last night. It's great. I'm originally from Michigan. I love snow. My wife is originally she's not from Las Vegas. She grew up in Las Vegas. But for some reason, she also loves snow. We took the babies out. We had snowball fights. The babies had a blast. My dogs also have apparently lost their minds in the snow. I've got a little Irish wolfhound puppy who I can't seem to get inside. He just loves spending time out there. Both my pit bull and my Great Dane do not like it as much. They'll go outside, they'll do their business, and then for the most part, they're ready to come inside. But as somebody who, like I said, is originally from Michigan, I love snow. I love the winter. It's my favorite season. Yeah, if we could have gotten 3 foot, that would have probably made me even happier. Now, unfortunately, I live on a side street. The side streets don't get plowed. I also live in a bowl, so no matter which way I take to get out of my neighborhood, I have to go up a hill. And unfortunately, my car couldn't make it up the hill, so I had to call into work today because I just couldn't get out of the neighborhood. But I'm not really gonna complain about that too much. I got to have snowball fights with my babies. It was great. Now, once again, the purpose of mixing is not just to combine the ingredients together, it also helps oxygenate it. Oxygen does work very well in the beginning stages of fermentation. I'm just adding a little bit of water in here to kind of get a little bit more of this juice and fruit out. We bought it, we paid for it, might as well use it. And this over here is just a French press canister. Yay, coffee. So go ahead and add more water. Actually, before I add too much more water, we're gonna wanna add our little side pieces. So we're gonna go ahead and add a half a teaspoon of wine tannin. Like I said, this is primarily for mouthfeel. It makes it so that it doesn't really feel watery in your mouth. We don't want to have that water. We want it to be full and be really good on the mouth. It's going to kind of make it like feel a little bit drier from what I understand. Next up is our pectic enzyme. Once again, I know we've already covered it. Break down the pectin. It's going to get rid of that pectin haze, make it a little more clear, and it's going to break down the pectin into digestible sugar for the yeast. So we're going to go in with a half a teaspoon of that as well. And once again, I'm just following the instructions on these packages. If any of you guys at home have any experience in this stuff, if you find that maybe using a little more pectic enzyme or a little less pectic enzyme or a little more tannin, a little less, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you guys have more experience. Let me know if I'm f***ing this up. We're all here to learn together. Once again, I've said it in a bunch of videos. We're here to fail together. We're here to succeed together. But we're going to learn the entire time. So let me know if you guys are also home brewers. Let me know what you guys are doing. Let me know how you guys are running things, what you're adding in to help facilitate things, give you better mouthfeels, better flavors, whatnot. Now, with the blackberry cherry, just like with the pineapple jalapeno and the mixed berry, we are going to be adding fruit back into this in secondary, just to kind of get more of those fruit flavors in there. Hopefully, this is not too sweet. I feel like I did calculate my sugars pretty all right. We will go ahead and see. I'm gonna go ahead and add my yeast. It is fluffed up quite nicely. Get that stuff out of there. And once again, mixy, mixy, mixy. Now, normally with the smaller mouth vessels, we just put our bung in it. We'd shake the holy hell out of it. With this, technically I could do that if I just covered the little hole in there. I don't want to. I'm also, not only am I dumb, I'm also lazy. Which is why Mead is perfect for me, because I can just put it in here and let it go and hope for the best. All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and say that we are sitting pretty right there. We are now going to test our pH. Once again, we do want to make sure that we are not giving botulism or anything else any kind of environment that it could possibly grow in. Botulism will make you sick, y'all. Don't f around with it. Now, pH strips, they're not end all be all. Obviously, they're not giving us an exact number, but for the most part, these can be viewed as close enough. Like I did mention previously, botulism starts thriving above a pH of 4.6. So as long as we're pretty much at 4 or 3.5, botulism's not going to be able to form in here. We don't really have to worry about making ourselves or anybody else that we might have drinking this. We don't really have to worry about them getting sick on this. So this fruit cap is already being a pain in the ass because got a blackberry on it. Jesus, screw it. I only need a couple drops. And yes, I do even sanitize my pipettes. I got a bunch of them. They are technically one-time use, but if I can use them a bunch of times, I'm going to. I'm going to save money. I'm poor. I don't like spending money. It. All right, let's go ahead and see where we are sitting. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but we're actually sitting right about 4, in between 3 and 4. So that's, once again, it's exactly where we want to be sitting. We don't have to add any acid to this. We're already right where we need to be. Seal that up. And now it's time to see what our specific gravity is. We're gonna go ahead and take a gravity reading. Yep, go ahead and take a gravity reading real quick. See what our potential ABV is gonna be. Hopefully, once again, I did calculate my sugars correctly. If not, we'll figure something out. And that's why, once again, like for doing melomels or fruit meads, it's one of the reasons why it's going to be better. Jesus Christ, this is all, I just need a sample. I can't get a sample. There's just fruit everywhere. Get out of there. Jesus Christ. All right, y'all, I might have screwed up because the fruit cap is all over this thing. I am really struggling with this, y'all. I just want to take a sample. Maybe don't mash this up as fine as I did.
One eternity later.
Fine, Jesus Christ. And it looks like we're sitting at right about a 1.100. I'm going to go ahead and let this kind of settle for probably a day. And then I will double check tomorrow. Hopefully I can get a better sample then. But as of right now, we've got about a 1.100 starting gravity. Before I actually go out and do the math on that, I'm going to go ahead and set up a blow-off tube. Fruit meads are always going to be better in a bucket. It's going to give you more headspace. It's going to make it so that there are less problems that are going to go wrong with the brew, not necessarily infections, but bottle bombs or anything like that. If you are using these 1 gallon fermenters, a way that you can kind of get around that is setting off a blow-off tube. I know I've done them in the past. So we've got our tubing, we've got our lid. We're going to go ahead and push that down in there, set this up, screw it on, and then I've got a cup here that's full of sanitizer. Once again, you do want to use sanitizer water or some kind of cheap alcohol. Once again, not rubbing alcohol. You want to use like a cheap whiskey, a cheap vodka, something like that. The reason you don't want to just use water is flies can still get, or bugs can still get in the water, crawl up your tube and get into your brew. And if they get in there, it's going to ruin it. So once again, we want to do everything in our power to give our meads the best possible chance whatsoever. So I've got a cup here full of sanitizer water. Also, I highly recommend, if you guys have a cup like this, to use this cup. You got a small hole right here, you got a big hole right here. The big hole can fit right in there, or the tubing can fit right in that big hole. It takes a little bit of finessing, but it locks it in place. This way you don't have to really worry about taping it or doing anything like that. It's just super convenient. So I highly recommend, if you got a cup like this, use this. It really helps, really simplifies things. But that's how you set off a blow-off tube. It's not that difficult. If you got tubing, which if you're doing your own home brewing and you're racking and stuff, you're gonna have tubing, it's okay, just use that tubing. Set it in your brew, make sure it's not sitting down in it, make sure it's sitting above it, gives you a little bit of headspace, but it makes it so that you don't have to worry about plugging your airlock and blowing it through your floor. So if you're gonna be using fruit in a 1 gallon fermenter vessel like this, do yourself a favor, just use a blow-off tube. It's going to make it easier. Then later on down the road, after a few days, 3, 4, 5 days, you can go ahead and switch this out for your standard airlock. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean things up here real quick. I'm gonna do the math. We're gonna figure out what our ABV is as it sits right now. Hopefully tomorrow things will have cleared up. I'll be able to get a better sample and we'll be able to figure it out. So give me just a couple minutes and I will be right back. Hey everybody, thanks for your patience. So after doing the math, it turns out that this, if it does have a starting gravity of 1.100, I'm gonna double check tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get the same results. Looks like it's gonna have a ABV of 13.125%. I think that's gonna be pretty good. We ain't gonna mess with it. We're not gonna touch it. We're just gonna try to get this thing to ferment dry, and then we'll back sweeten it later. Now, on one of my previous videos, I believe it was my back sweetening video, one of my subscribers did mention using a rumble jar to kind of help get around this stuff. A rumble jar, it's a piece of stainless steel or something. You can stick it down in there. It looks kind of like a coffee filter. Stick it down in there, and it would keep all that stuff out of there, make getting a sample out of there a lot easier. I'm definitely going to have to look into investing in one of those. In other news, I am wanting to bring you guys into the fold of what we're doing with this. Now, while you guys can't necessarily help me make the meads or anything like that, what we can do is allow you guys to name them. I was thinking military-related stuff. Like, for the traditional mead, I'm probably going to call the traditional mead the 11 Bravo. Why is it the 11 Bravo? Because it's pretty useless unless it's you up. I feel like that's pretty clever. So if you guys can think of a cool like military-related name for these meads, go ahead and leave a comment below. We will, I guess, kind of have little competitions right before we start bottling them. We'll do a poll, and whichever one gets the highest amount of votes, that's what we will name it. On top of that, if your name is selected, we'll see about maybe trying to get you guys a bottle of the mead that your name won. If you guys wanted to record a little clip of you guys trying it and then sending that to me, whether it's email or anything like that, we'd love to put that video on the channel. And I would want you guys to be 100% honest. If you like it, let us know that you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell us it tastes like ass. That's perfectly fine. We're here to make really good products, and not every one of them is going to be a winner. So just keep that in mind for the future. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. My name is Wilson. This is Bullet Sponge and Brews, and this is our Blackberry Cherry Vanilla Mead. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. All that stuff does help this channel grow more. We'll see you next time. Y'all have a good night.